guys, welcome back to my channel. So I know it has been a very long time since I've done a creepy paranormal storytime video. I think the last one I did was when I experienced sleep paralysis. At the time I wasn't sure if it was sleep paralysis or not, but after talking to some people and hearing all your guys' advice, like every single one of you was like, that was sleep paralysis. So anyways, I haven't done a video since then, which I'll just go ahead and link my scary storytime playlist down below along with that video in case you guys haven't seen it. But honestly guys, like I am running out of stories and there hasn't really been that much paranormal things happening. There's been one thing that's been kind of weird, which I'm going to tell you guys in this video, and then I'm going to tell you guys today about another creepy house that I lived in, which I've done a story time on the haunted apartment my mom and I lived in, and then I've done another one on a creepy closet that I had at my dad's house, and then the other story I'm going to tell you today was a complete separate house. So anyways, after today, after this story, I have one more left that I can think of, and that one is the scariest thing that I think has ever happened to me in my entire life, only because there's like audio to it. And anyways, I don't want to spoil it because that's going to be another video, but I'm running out of stories, guys. I'm really sorry. Of course, as things come up, like if more things come up, I'll tell you guys about them. But as far as past, stories that I can remember and everything like that, the bucket is almost empty. But anyways, I'll be quiet. Let's see. Should I start with what happened recently first? Yeah, I'll start with what happened recently first. So a couple months ago, it was my dad's birthday, and him, my sister, and my stepmom, they took a vacation, and my dad wanted me to check on the house, water his plants, and just every day go by the house, check on it, make sure everything's okay and whatnot. So I was gonna go ahead and do that. And before this, my sister had been telling me, my sister's 15 by the way. So before this, my sister had been telling me like, I'm feeling weird things in the house. I feel like there's something in the house. And, when you lived here, did you feel this? Did you feel that? And which I did. Like, I've told stories of some creepy things that have happened and stuff like that. But one thing she kept telling me is that, like, I just feel like, something's watching me, or like I turn around and I feel like something's behind me, or I feel like something's there and it's not, which if you've ever experienced that, you know exactly the feeling she's talking about, where you just feel like something's there, like, and a lot of times when that happens, like, it's for a reason. Especially if you're kind of in tune to that kind of stuff, you don't just get that feeling out of the blue for no reason, usually. So anyway, she had told me that, for a while, but at the time I was going and checking on the house, like, I hadn't been watching scary story times, I haven't been watching scary videos, like paranormal scary stuff was just not on my mind at this time. And like, I don't know, like I go through periods where I just kind of like don't think about it, and then it just doesn't come up, I guess, if that makes any sense. So anyways, the first day I had gone there, and okay, this is really like random and weird, but my sister has a really nice furry white rug, and I wanted to take some pictures of makeup products on it. So I was in her room, which I say her room. So her room is kind of like a playroom. It was a playroom. I think honestly, I guess it would be described as maybe like a dining room, or like an official enclosed dining room, or maybe like a small living room. I don't really know the official purpose of that room, but that's kind of her room where she like sleeps and does her makeup and stuff like that. So anyways, I was in there, and the laundry room is about, I would say, I don't know, 30 feet away from that room. And I was sitting on the floor taking pictures, and all of a sudden I heard something like something being set down or something being moved, like very slightly in the laundry room. And I was like, what the heck? Like, there was no dogs there. They had taken the dogs to my stepmom's parents' house. Like, it was just me in the house. And I was like, my initial thought was like, did they stay back, or like, I don't know. My initial thought was not, oh my God, nobody's there. I don't know. For some reason, I just thought like someone must be in there. And I was kind of just like, what what? And I said out loud, I was like, hello? And nobody answered. And then at that point I was like, okay, that's a little weird. So I got up and I went and I looked in the laundry room, and there was nothing in there, like nothing fell, and I was like, oh, that was a little weird. And I don't know, I kind of just didn't think anything of it. I kind of was just like, that's a little weird, which actually I forgot. So my sister had told me a while ago that she's like, I keep hearing noises in the laundry room. And she brought up the laundry room before. And so then I was like, that's weird. I totally just heard something in there too. Anyways, I water the plants, not a big deal. Nothing else weird happens. I'm fine, whatever. So then the next day I come back to check on the house, and I'm just kind of going through the rooms, just making sure all the doors are still locked, all the windows are okay, nothing weird. And again, I wasn't even thinking of anything creepy. I was not on edge or anything like that. It's actually kind of peaceful going there sometimes, just because it's quiet and I'm by myself, just checking out the house, watering the plants, whatever. And all of a sudden I just felt like someone was behind me. I got that feeling and I got really spooked, honestly. I was just like, oh my God, I felt something, you know what I mean? Which is what my sister had been saying. And I was just looked around, and I just was I don't know, I just got panicked. I wanted to get out of there, you know what I mean? Finish checking the house and leave. And this time around, Jesse was with me, but he was waiting in the car for me. So I was alone in the house, but Jesse was outside in the car. So I hurried up, I got my stuff, and I don't know, I just felt so uneasy, and something was there, and just something not good. I don't know. I just felt very oh my gosh, something's here, and I just want to get out. And so when I got back in the car, I kind of ran back to the car, and I was like, okay, that was really weird. I told Jesse what happened or whatever, and he was like, oh, that's weird. That's freaky. And the next couple, I think I had to go back one more day by myself. And at that point I was like, okay, I'm a little spooked now. I just want to get in and out. I was on edge at that point. And so that third time I went in there again, I felt weird. Something was watching me. I was not alone. Once I was outside watering the plants, I was fine. I didn't feel creeped out at all outside. I was watering the plants. I was like, okay, it's cool. But as soon as I went back in the house, I was just I want to check everything and get out of here. So at that point, I was done. They were coming back the next day. I didn't have to go back there. So the weird thing is for the next couple weeks, I would say it was 3 weeks on and off. It wasn't every single night, but 3 weeks following that, about 3 weeks-ish, a month maybe, every once in a while, Jesse and I would be in bed, and so we have our 3 dogs, and we lock them in the room with us. We shut the door, just because Roro used to go and poop in the living room in the middle of the night, so we started shutting the door, because then she wouldn't poop in our room, and so we just stuck with it. So it's me, Jesse, and our 3 dogs locked in our bedroom every night. That's just what we do. So there were a couple nights where we would all be in bed getting ready to go to sleep, and all of a sudden it would sound like someone was coming in the door, to the point it was so realistic that the dogs would get up and bark, and Jesse would jump out of bed and go out there, and I would be like, oh my God, I need to go get the bat or go find the gun or something, you know what I mean? Because it sounded like someone was coming in the door. And Jesse would go out and look, and Jesse would open the door and let the dogs out. And anytime we hear noises, he lets the dogs outside and tells, go get them, go get them. And they bark, just in case there's anyone around, they will scare them off or find them, you know what I mean? And so, the dogs went out, there was nothing outside. The door was still locked, and nothing came of it. So that happened a couple times, and to the point where we're like, okay, what is going on? It kept sounding like the door was opening, like someone was turning the door and coming inside. And it happened, I would say maybe it happened about 5 times in the span of that month or 3 weeks or whatever, randomly. And I don't know, it's weird. I was just oh gosh, what if something followed me from my dad's house, And so I brought it up to my sister one time, and I was just oh, it's weird, Jesse and I keep hearing weird noises, ever since I was coming and checking on the house. And she was like, that's what I hear all the time at our house. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, it sounds like someone's opening the back door. She goes, I hear that all the time at the house. And I was like, no way. And my dad was sitting there. She's like, Dad, don't I tell you that, you know, I hear the doorknob opening and stuff? And he was like, yeah, like she's been saying she's been hearing that. And so I don't know. I just thought that was so freaky. And like, again, she hadn't told me about her hearing the door thing until I had told her. So it wasn't like, you know, I knew that she had been hearing the door opening. And so I don't know if that makes any sense. And it stopped after about a month. Like, we hadn't heard anything since. Nothing's happened since then. So I don't know. I feel like maybe, I don't know if there was like something there that followed me for a little bit and went back. I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I don't have an explanation. It was just a really weird, freaky thing that happened. And then it was just freaky that my sister was like, well, no, I always hear sounds like someone's coming in through the back door and no one's there. So I don't know. That was just really weird. The dogs are outside barking. That's what you hear. But yeah, other than that, guys, like, I just have been in a very quiet place paranormally. I don't know. It's really weird. Like, I keep deciding if I should make a video about this or not, but like, I have been battling myself a little bit mentally with anxiety and stuff like that. And anytime I'm kind of in a rut mentally, it's almost like I just kind of like spiritually things shut down. It's really weird. Like, I don't get weird signs, like, which I still need to make a video about that, I guess. I get weird signs from, you know, loved ones who are no longer here and all of that, like good spiritual paranormal stuff, you know, everything just shuts down. So I don't know. It's just been kind of quiet around here and nothing's really happened. Hence why, like, I don't have any more stories other than that recently. Now, I will tell a story about a house that I lived in with my dad. So when I was, I think I was like maybe 10, 11, we lived way out on the outskirts of town. If you live in Tucson, it was in Corona de Tucson. So it's way kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of really older houses. And my dad and Jen's my stepmom, my dad and Jen had bought a home, and anytime we moved, Jen and I would go in and we would clean and like get everything clean before everything would get moved in. And so they had bought the house and we were in there cleaning, and we were cleaning the bathroom, and I had kind of moved on to like the kitchen or something, and Jen was finishing up in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I heard her yelling for me, and she was like, Julia, like yelling for me. And I went and the door was shut, and she was kind of like trying to open the door, and she was like, can you open the door? Like, I think it's locked from the outside. And the door had no lock from the outside. The lock was actually from the inside where she was at. And I was like, there's no lock, you know? And she's like, well, can you try to open it? And I tried opening it and it wouldn't open. Like, it felt like it was locked. It was really, really weird. And I'm like, well, it's not opening either. And at this point, like, my stepmom started to panic. Like, she got a little claustrophobic, and she was like, okay, well, I need to get out. It's not opening. And she was like freaking out. It was so weird. Like, the door was not locked on her end. It couldn't be locked on my end, but it just was not opening. And it wasn't like like it was humid and the door stuck, you know what I mean? Because that happens in our house here sometimes. We have an evaporative cooler. So when it does get humid here, which is hardly ever, our doors will swell up and stick, and they kind of are hard to open. But it wasn't like that. It was like it was locked, but it wasn't locked. It was just really weird. And she was just freaking out and like, get me out of here. And she was panicking. And she actually just grabbed a screwdriver and like cut a hole in the door. And I don't even remember how we got the door open, but she literally like poked a hole in the door with the screwdriver and like literally just like clawed her way out. So that was kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Again, we never figured out what happened. My dad ended up getting a new door, and I mean, he couldn't figure out what was wrong. So that was a little weird thing that happened. And then, I don't know, just again, at that house, extremely, I would always, like, it was weird. Like, if I was gonna go and get water in the middle of the night, like, I would just be terrified, and I would just run back to my room because I would feel like something was chasing me. And I don't know, that house in particularly, I was so terrified. Like, it just felt like there was something bad there. I don't know, it was so scary. And if you guys have watched my possessed toy video, which I'll link that one down below also, separately, but real quick recap. My sister got a toy horse when she was a baby, and they bought it. That was the house that they bought it in. And it was weird things were happening when that horse was around. I think something attached itself to that horse, but the weird thing is they had bought the horse at like Fry's. Like, it was brand new, it wasn't an antique or anything. So long story short, what I think happened was there was an energy there in that house. I don't know. I just got a feeling that there were multiple things there, and I feel like something attached itself to that horse. So then when we moved, it continued to have weird things happen revolving the horse. I don't know. But that was another weird thing that happened, that, you know, her horse had something attached to it. And then another time, my cousin and I, so how my dad and Jen's bedroom was, is they had the bedroom, and then there was like, almost looked like an old Arizona room, but it was attached to their bedroom, but it was enclosed. I don't know, it was weird. Anyways, there was a jacuzzi in there inside their room. It was kind of cool. And my cousin and I would always go in the jacuzzi and like fool around, whatever, and we would always like to have competitions who could hold their breath the longest. So we'd go into the water or whatever and see who could hold their breath the longest, and then come up and then start again, whatever. And so I remember one time we were in there playing that game, and my dad had come in and shut the door because we were being loud, and they were like trying to watch a movie or something out in the living room. So he shut the door, and we were playing and, you know, coming up out of the water, back under. And one time we came out of the water and the door was opening, like currently opening, and our cat just like walked through. And it was so weird. And like my cousin and I looked at each other, I was like, oh my God, did you see that? And she was like, yeah. And like we freaked out. And I think we went and got my dad or something and was like, Dad, did you open the door? And he was like, no, like, you know, and we were like, oh my God, the door just opened by itself. And the cat came in through, like, almost like we were like, what if something opened the door for the cat? Or like, I don't know, it was weird. But my dad was always just like, no, like he would always come up with explanations. So things like that would happen a lot. Or a lot of times, like the fan would turn on all of a sudden by itself. A light would turn on by itself. Things like that would happen in that house. And another weird thing with the cat was that one of our cats, he would always like look like he was chasing something. It was so weird, which like that's such a cliche thing. Like I'm sure you guys have heard of that happening, or maybe you've experienced a pet like looking at something or watching something that's not there, which animals are so in tune to the paranormal. Like they can see things and sense things that a lot of times we can't. So that was just really weird too. Like our cat would just get up and start following something, or watch something and nothing was there. Really, really weird. So yeah, that was kind of another creepy house that I lived in, and just some of the things that happened there. I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything else weird that happened there, but we only lived there. I think we only lived there for like a year. Like we did not live there very long because that house also had a lot of scorpions and it was just way out of town. So we only lived there for like a year and we moved out, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I think that was like the scariest house I think I've ever lived in, where I just was the most scared there. And I was, like I said, I always felt like something was there. Like I wanted to run back to my room, or like something was chasing me. I don't know, really just creepy house. Not necessarily the most activity. I think the most activity house I've ever lived in was that apartment with my mom. Like that, there was a lot of activity, but it didn't necessarily feel bad. I mentioned in that video that felt more juvenile, like, I don't know, not bad, but this house was like scary. Like, I don't know, I think whatever was in there was bad, or I don't know. Anyways, that's what I have for you guys, my little spook lovers, for paranormal stuff today. Like I said, I have one more that I remember, and this one, I don't know, I was saving like my scariest for last, because this story does have audio that goes along with it that is just like, I don't know, still to this day, when I listen to it, I get the creeps. Like, I don't know, it's just freaky. It's not a very long story, but anyways, I don't want to give it away. So stay tuned for that video. If you're not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you don't want to miss that video, go ahead and hit that notification bell so it'll notify you every time I upload a video. Thank you so much, guys, for taking time out of your day to listen to me blab and stop by my channel. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. And other than that, don't let the bed bugs bite.